Hello and welcome to my video. This is like the 5th time I started recording this. I'm going to be doing a red and gold Chinese New Year eye look, and I'm going to be talking about being mixed race. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be a journey of emotion and intrigue and pigments. We've got them all. We've got them all. So let's get started. I already did my base. I use the Flower Beauty by, who is it? Drew Barrymore. It's the hydrating primer because I have very dry skin. I was gonna get the green redness correcting one because I have a lot of like redness, but they were out of it. And for my foundation, I use Born This Way in the shade Vanilla. In the summer, I'm light beige. When you start noticing a orange brown like fade around your neckline and it looks like your face was dipped in Oompa Loompa juice, you know it's time for a shade change. Then for my setting powder, it's the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. For the base, I'm going to use the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I got it for half off. I love anything that can get me fancy stuff to make me look rich without being rich. So while that dries, let me take a deep breath and talk about my life. Okay, so a little background on myself. My dad's side of the family is from China. My dad came over in like the 90s, and my mom's side of the family is Jewish. I didn't grow up around my dad or that whole side of my family, and I didn't even grow up with my mom's extended family members. The only people around me who were like me in any way were my 2 younger sisters. So growing up, I always felt such a longing for connection, and when you lack a community, you feel really lonely. I felt really lonely. I felt a lot of like identity things like, who am I? Where am I going to belong? By this time, my eye primer potion has probably dried, so I'm going to go in with the Morphe 35B palette. I'm going to use this red shade here, which comes off a little pink on camera, but it looks more of like just like a nice little red that actually applies to the eyes. Kind of orange. I'm going to use this brush and start putting this in this outer corner / crease area. I have my like mirror over here and I'm probably just gonna have to grab that. So, it was always my dream to meet my dad's side of the family, you know, my grandparents, my cousins who we got pictures of, my aunt, my uncle. I, you know, honestly didn't even know the extent of the family I had. I just always thought it was kind of like an impossible dream, you know, like one day I'm gonna meet my family and I'm gonna belong and they're gonna love me or something like that. It sounds really sad, but it's true. And so in college, I decided to just like, you know, take a concrete step. I took on Chinese as a minor, and it was very, very difficult because obviously Mandarin Chinese is a very difficult language to learn. There's like 5 tones. It's not comparable to English like at all. Like, it's beautiful, but it's very hard to learn coming in as an 18-year-old. It was very important to me that I like, you know, learn this language and eventually be able to communicate with my family abroad and maybe better with my dad. Maybe he would love me, I don't know. People would always say, oh, you learn a language so much faster when you live in the country. I ran all over the place trying to get all kinds of scholarships, which, by the way, if you want to study in China, both governments just kind of like they like rain money on you. Come hither. We love American money. Or something like that. I don't know. Wow, this is really, really pink and I'm really disappointed. Yeah, I wanted to get the Colourpop Baby Talk Super Shock Shadow, which is just like a really just like intense red. Kind of like this one was supposed to be, but wasn't. But it was sold out. So yeah, I went to China. I went to Beijing Normal University for a semester. I loved exploring Beijing and like kind of like coming into my own for the first time, becoming an independent woman at 20 years old. Life is so different when you go from the middle of America, like the Great Plains, to literally one of the biggest cities in the world. I was in China in the fall semester. I'm gonna take one of these brushes. I have a lot of brushes. I'm just kind of grabbing them willy-nilly. I'm gonna blend out these edges a little bit. Don't worry about making it too perfect, because we're punk rock. Yeah, and so I was there in the fall semester, and in China there's these like national holiday weeks. There's like one in one part of the year, one in like the beginning of October. And so we got a week off of school. My family in Guangzhou, where my dad's from, got me a high-speed train ticket to go and visit them and stay with them during that week. I was so excited and so nervous. I met my grandparents, two very tiny, very old people, very sweet. They just kind of kept to themselves most of the time. My uncle and my aunt and my cousin and my aunt, who said she was my dad's sister, but it was really probably my dad's cousin. I don't know how they're related. Next shade I'm going to use is the Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Paradox. It kind of matches my shirt. And so yeah, in college I did do like whatever I could to, you know, give myself knowledge of my culture, of my people. And I joined an Asian sorority, studied abroad. Yeah, but even still trying to connect with my own, with, you know, the Chinese, my Chinese culture. It was like, it had my ups and downs and stuff. But I did, you know, I did try. And I guess all you can do in life is try. I'm just grabbing any brush I can to just kind of blend out the corners of this Super Shock shadow.
Blend, 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 blend into oblivion. And we're blending, and we're blending, and we're blending. Blend, 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 blend.
Next, I'm going to use this shade from the Jaclyn Hill Morphe collection. I know all of my makeup's really messy, but who has time to clean all of this? Not me. I think the shade is Jax. It's like a nice deep darker red, which honestly I probably should have used instead of the Colourpop Super Shock. We're gonna do a little rolling, a little I'm gonna take this in the corners and sort of go over that a little bit and maybe blend it upward to soften those edges. Gonna soften it. Gonna make these edges whisper. This is another like mixed race experience. I've heard other people of blended genetics, as we might call it, talk about, but you don't always look like your family. Me and my two sisters who are mixed look very, very different from each other, and we all look very, very different from our parents. The three of us are assumed to be completely different races from each other. One of my younger sisters gets a lot of racist comments and racist treatment for being Mexican because people assume that she's Mexican. I don't have that experience. I don't get that sort of like racist treatment. Sometimes I get asked if I'm Latina. That's one of the ones I've gotten most. White people assume that I'm white, which to me is very, very strange. I don't look into the mirror and say, "How are you doing today, white lady?" To me, I look in the mirror and I'm like, "Isn't she cute? What are your eyebrows doing? Why is she so tired?" I've been talking for so long and I'm getting nowhere. So I'm going to go back in with the Jaclyn Hill palette, that same red color, and I'm going to put this on my lower lash line. I'm just gonna do that and do a little diffusing, you know? Okay, and to deepen this darkness even more, to throw myself further into the makeup void, I'm going to take the shade Realness from the Chasing Rainbows Colourpop palette, which is one of my favorite things I have ever laid fingers upon. This is not the first time I've talked about being mixed for an extended period of time in front of people. In college, I was part of a mixed Asian panel. I'm gonna move on with the next step before I just sit here looking like wild for too long. But the next thing I'm going to do is take my Tarte Shape Tape and kind of clean up a space to put the gold. To hear about what people who are like me and yet at the same time so different from me go through, it was really it was really enlightening. While there may be shared experiences being, you know, being mixed Asian, your relationship with your ethnicity, with your cultures can vary so much from person to person. Okay, then I'm gonna go in with the Flower Beauty Fanatic Eye Pigment. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this over the concealer. Being mixed and trying to go into an Asian organization or gathering for the first time, you kind of have to like racially come out, you know, instead of being like, hi guys, I'm gay. It's kind of like you have to establish, you know, who you are, what you're doing there. On top of the Flower Beauty, I'm going to use the Colourpop Here We Go Again. It's a very glittery, very beautiful gold. I often feel like I have to justify my presence in Asian spaces. What does not help that is also seeing a lot of things on the internet lately that I've just recently been noticing, and I've been on the internet for a while. Like, I love the internet. Is people talking about mixed Asians really, do you count as Asian? Which I'd like to say, fuck yeah. Being mixed doesn't make you like diluted. It just makes you different. It just gives you a different experience. Like, it's 2019. A lot of different people are fucking now. People of multiple ethnicities and multiple, you know, racial background exist. Going back to the Morphe 35B palette, this lighter gold shade to put near the inner corners, kind of brighten that up a little bit more. Look at that, it's so pretty. This looks really messy, but again, punk rock, grunge. Alright, it seems as though I lost my new Stila waterproof liner, so I'm gonna use my old one that I don't really touch anymore. But for the sake of the video, let's fucking do it, bro. I'm going to be using lashes from House of Lashes. Ooh. Oh, by the way, I'm going to use Prism. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of mascara underneath the lashes to blend them in. I'm not gonna curl them because who has time for that, you know? I'm wearing fake eyelashes. They kind of take over everything. I'm gonna use MUA and Unapologetic. I'm gonna mix those two and do like a little bit of like bronzy something. It's doing maybe not the Lord's work, but perhaps making it look like I crawled straight out of the demon's lair. Hot. Living for it. What's a new year for except a new you? And the new you is fierce and fabulous. It's a look. It's a mood. I am using provocative. Make it spicier, you know? And then for highlight, I'm going to use the Pure Cosmetics Afterglow highlighter. It's like a nice soft gold. Gonna just put that wherever I darn well please. A little there, a little there. Kind of smells like vanilla. Okay, so I went through all the points that I really wanted to go through on the whole mixed race experience. It was kind of hard to get through, a little bit emotional, but I did it. We did it. So this has been a fun experiment in content creating. Hopefully I'll get better at it. Thank you for being on this journey with me. For the lips, I'm going to line with the NYX lip liner in the shade Black. It's black.
Oh no.
I'm not a professional. Oh my god.
Where's my liquid lipstick?
I'm going to use an Atomic Makeup lipstick in the shade X-Rated. The formula is kind of dry-ish. Smells like makeup. You definitely need a lip liner with it. Oh my god. Like butter. Putting on this lipstick is kind of like making out with yourself. It's hot. It feels real good. I love the way it spreads over my lips. And if you end up making your the edges of your lips look like the European coastline, despite all of your best efforts, blend it out with your lip liner. And then to top it off, I'm going to use a Kylie gloss in, it's called Poppin, it's gold. I didn't buy this, somebody bought it for me. So this is the finished look. It looks a little bit extreme on camera because of the lighting, but what's life if not to be lived to the extremes? Yeah, apparently everybody else celebrated the holiday over the weekend, so a bitch is feeling a little bit lonely, and what can a lonely girl do than expose her entire guts and insides on the internet? Happy Chinese New Year!